engine hummed softly beneath the hood as I navigated the desolate road that cut through the thick, ominous forest. My hands gripped the steering wheel, knuckles turning white with tension. The only source of light came from the dim glow of my headlights, casting long shadows that danced in the periphery of my vision. The trees loomed like silent sentinels, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers, ready to snatch anything that dared to pass. I had taken this shortcut countless times before, but tonight felt different. The air seemed to carry an unspoken warning, whispering through the rustling leaves that something was amiss. Still, I pressed on, my rational mind attempting to dismiss the growing unease. As the minutes ticked away, the road became increasingly narrow, winding through the heart of the forest. The thick canopy overhead blocked out the moonlight, plunging the surroundings into a suffocating darkness. The only sound was the low hum of my tires against the asphalt and the occasional creaking of branches swaying in the wind. I stole a glance at the dashboard clock, 2:37 a.m. My stomach tightened as I realized just how isolated I was. No other cars in sight, no signs of civilization. Just me and the encroaching darkness that seemed to press in from all sides. Suddenly, a figure appeared in my headlights. A hitchhiker, seemingly materializing from the shadows. My foot instinctively pressed on the brake, and the car screeched to a halt. The figure stood at the side of the road, face hidden beneath the hood of a tattered cloak. Against my better judgment, I rolled down the window, the night air chilling my skin. The hooded stranger turned to face me, revealing an obscured face, shrouded in darkness. A cold, disembodied voice spoke, "You shouldn't be here." A shiver ran down my spine as I hesitated. "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. The figure raised a skeletal hand, pointing further down the road. "Turn back. Leave this place before it's too late." A knot of fear twisted in my stomach, but my pride overshadowed caution. "I appreciate the advice, but I know this road. I'll be fine." The hooded figure said nothing more, disappearing into the night as I reluctantly rolled up the window. I shook off the eerie encounter, convincing myself it was a figment of my imagination, a result of tired eyes and a wandering mind. As I resumed my journey, the road twisted and turned like a labyrinth. The forest seemed to grow denser, the trees closing in around me. Shadows danced on the periphery of my vision, morphing into grotesque shapes that seemed to taunt my sanity. My headlights flickered, casting sporadic bursts of darkness. Panic set in as the engine sputtered, the car slowing to a crawl. Desperation gripped me as I fumbled with the key, trying to coax the dying vehicle back to life. The forest seemed to hold its breath, waiting to consume me. In the suffocating silence, I heard whispers, unintelligible, haunting murmurs that slithered through the darkness. My eyes darted nervously, searching for the source of the ethereal voices. A primal fear clawed at my chest as the whispers intensified, their words weaving into a haunting melody. I glanced into the rearview mirror, and my heart skipped a beat. Shadows moved behind me, contorting into grotesque forms that seemed to reach out from the abyss. Sweat coated my palms as I fought the rising panic, my rational mind unraveling in the face of the inexplicable. Suddenly, the whispers coalesced into a chorus, echoing hauntingly through the forest. The trees themselves seemed to groan in harmony, their branches contorting into twisted figures. The air grew thick with malevolence, and I realized I was no longer alone. Terrified, I stumbled out of the car, the whispers now audible as ghostly moans that seemed to emanate from the very fabric of the night. The forest seemed alive, pulsating with an otherworldly energy that defied explanation. In the distance, I saw a flickering light, a dim glow that pulsed with an ominous rhythm. Driven by a mix of terror and morbid curiosity, I stumbled towards it, each step echoing in the oppressive silence. As I reached the source, I found myself standing before an ancient, gnarled tree. Its bark seemed to writhe, the trunk pulsating with an otherworldly energy. In its roots, a spectral figure was etched, a hooded silhouette reminiscent of the one I had encountered earlier. The whispers crescendoed, the voices now a cacophony of despair. The figure raised its skeletal hand, pointing towards the road I had travelled. Dread settled in as I understood the warning too late. The forest, now alive with malevolent intent, seemed to close in around me. Shadows twisted into nightmarish forms, reaching out with ethereal fingers. The once familiar road became a labyrinth of darkness, the path home lost in the ever-shifting maze. I stumbled backward, the hooded figure's warning echoing in my mind. Panic overwhelmed reason as I realized I was trapped. A mere pawn in a sinister game played by forces beyond comprehension. The forest, now a living nightmare, devoured me whole, and the once familiar road became an endless maze, where the only way out was to confront the malevolence that lurked within the shadows.